Errol Spence Jr. is too rugged for Terence "Bud" Crawford, or is his size a disadvantage? What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red, but let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, recently, the question was posed whether Errol Spence Jr. is just too big and too rugged for a fighter like Terence "Bud" Crawford.
I think it's a very strange, funny time where everybody would love to be able to be themselves, but they can't because they must fall in line with the person in front of them.
And I wanted to break that down, give my 2 cents, and discuss the size advantage Errol Spence has over Terence Crawford. Alright, so the matchup is coming, man. It's coming up very quickly. Very surprising that they got it done, but I'm so glad those two guys worked it out amongst each other and the fight is happening. Now the question comes up whether Errol Spence Jr., who's been the most dominant welterweight we've seen of this generation, is just a little too big and too rugged for a fighter with the style of Terence "Bud" Crawford. And to me, the first thing I would have to say is it depends on Terence Crawford's game plan and how Terence Crawford feels at this point in his career. Listen, he doesn't sound like he's going to retire anytime soon. He keeps talking about fighting Charlo next and, moving up to 154. So I don't think Terence Crawford's going anywhere anytime soon. I don't feel like he's going in this to lose. But there is the possibility he could lose, but there's the rematch clause. So if nothing else, we're going to get 2 fights out of this, if nothing else. So if everything is what people have been saying it is, because we don't know exactly what's all in the contracts just yet. But according to most people that are reporting on the fight, there's some type of rematch clause for both sides. So both guys, have a shot twice, so we'll most definitely be getting the rematch. So how does Terence Crawford take advantage of Errol Spence's size? I mean, to keep it short and simple, just watch the Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko fight. Lomachenko displayed everything you should do to beat a bigger fighter. A fighter who out-muscles you, a fighter who's longer than you.
What you want to do? Your innocence is on the line. We in jail. You my cellie. What you want to do? Your back hurt. Your back hurt.
A fighter they say should be able to knock you out easily. And I think that game plan is what Terence Crawford needs to implement with some Manny Pacquiao style of movement. I think that is the key to beating Errol Spence. The problem is, can Terence Crawford actually achieve that type of attribute? Can he actually come into the ring and display Manny Pacquiao style movement with Vasyl Lomachenko's speed? I don't think he can. I think the more he moves up in weight, the less speedy he's become. It was different for Manny Pacquiao. His speed carried from weight to weight. His power carried from weight to weight. So I think Pacquiao is just a special character, but there are still things that Terence Crawford could do to take advantage of Errol Spence. I've always said Errol Spence's Achilles heel is his foot movement. He has very clunky, slow feet. He does everything very methodically and robotically. And if you can throw that movement off, that's the key to beating Spence, because he won't be able to keep up with your pace. The problem with that is not everybody can display those attributes once again, similar to a Manny Pacquiao. Can Terence Crawford move that quickly, and with those type of angles? I don't think we've ever really seen him do that. We've seen him do that versus fighters that were slower than him, less talented than him, and that maybe didn't have a high ring IQ. We know Errol Spence has all of those. The only question mark about Spence is his speed, his body movement, his foot speed, those type of things. So if Terence Crawford can go in there and find a way to take advantage of this somehow, I think it could be a long night for Spence. And I think that Spence's size and his rugged, tough fighting style won't really matter if he can't keep up with the pace of Terence Crawford.
It sounded like Jada Pinkett, so we're about to set it off.
Now, have we seen other fighters try to attempt that versus Errol Spence? I really don't think so, because I don't know of any other fighters at welterweight within the past 5 years that I've had speed to that caliber, to that Manny Pacquiao caliber, to that Vasyl Lomachenko caliber. So I think everybody that Errol has faced off with has been, has basically had normal speed, normal boxing abilities. They were just real good names within the sport, and I don't think there was anybody that could have taken advantage of Errol or Terence Crawford, to be honest. So I feel like it's going to be a special matchup. There's going to be a lot of fireworks. Whoever wins the first 4 rounds is going to win the fight. Whoever wins the first 4 rounds is going to win the fight. Whether you see Errol Spence establish his jab and his positioning in the first 4 rounds of the fight, or we see Terence Crawford come out and overwhelm Spence with combinations and body movement, foot movement, and Spence just can't keep up with it. Whoever controls those first 4 rounds, whether it's Spence or Crawford, is most likely going to win that fight. And most likely, I think the winner of the first one is going to win the second one. I think we're going to see one guy get exposed, finally. This is the biggest matchup you can make at welterweight. No matter who you bring up at this point, with the exception of a few names that are legendary names within the sport, and I think you can kind of exclude those names at this point. So these are the biggest names and the biggest and baddest and best boxing abilities 147 has to offer, so there should definitely be fireworks in this fight. This should not be a boring fight. This shouldn't be a lackluster fight. Nobody should feel like they didn't get their money's worth out of this fight. And, to be honest, the last 2 super fights, I call the last 2 fights that I watched super fights, those didn't disappoint. Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia didn't disappoint. And Devin Haney, Vasyl Lomachenko didn't disappoint. Now, we all know that the Gervonta Davis fight did way better than the Lomachenko-Haney fight. Now it's up to Spence and Crawford to try to chase that down and pass it. Are those guys what they say they have been this whole time, or is Gervonta Tank Davis really the new face of boxing? Is he really where the money's at? Have those guys, built names, but they let their fight linger and marinate too long, and now fans are not interested in it and nobody's going to buy it? We will all find out in just a few weeks, and I cannot wait. And I want y'all to let me know what y'all think. Is the size of Errol Spence Jr. and his rugged fighting ability too much for Terence Crawford to overcome, or is Terence Crawford going to hit Errol with some of those Manny Pacquiao speed limits and some of those Vasyl Lomachenko body movements and foot movements? And it's going to be a whirlwind of a fight. I can't wait till it all goes down. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, fun man, share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tubes, or holler at me over there. If you like to collabo, feel free to hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are mining.
There you go. Hey yo, brand new money. What you know about it? Niggas wanna claim they bout it, I doubt it. Got your house surrounded, you don't wanna come about it. It's lonely at the top, but at the bottom it's crowded. A nigga ain't ate in a week, yet and still got a pocket full of bread, then you're probably a beast. If you're eating every day of the week, but you ain't got $1 to your name, then you're probably a leech. Preach, thank the Most Highs for making me most flies. Okay, wise, on the fat boy died. I know you got something on your mind, don't try it. I got something in the rides, in your head bone flying for sure. Let me see you go, let me see you go. Get it, let me see you go, let me see you go. You know I stack it, don't spin it, own it, don't rent it. Wait a damn minute, I'ma show 'em how to get it. Come on, let me see you go. let me see you go. Get it, let me see you go. Let me see you go. Get it, let me see you go. Let me see you go. Get it, let me see you go. Let me see you go. Hey yo, you can hear the cop sirens and the shots firing. Niggas looking for jobs, but they not hiring. You gotta take it all in your own hands. What you on, bruh? I got my own plans. Get my own land, please move along, man. If you can't respect the fact that I'm a grown man, and I ain't playing, going hard in the paint for my niggas that wanna go hard, but they can't. So I guess I'm going triple hard. I get your girlfriend's nipples hard. Never leave home without my pimpin' card. So please put my name on the wall. That's the greatest of all. Put my name on the brawl. If I lay in the wrong, what I'm saying to y'all, Lucas Keys ain't playing with y'all. Middle finger, what I'm waving to y'all. Give a damn if you say hi. Super low, yet I stay high. Lucas Keys, let me see you go. Let me see you go.